Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back. Another day in the market. Slowly trying to get back into these live streams. I know it's all over the place and random. Gonna try to get on a stricter schedule, but for right now, it's just whenever I can share some random stuff, go live for like 15-20 minutes, scream out a bunch of things, and call it a night. And that's just how it's probably gonna be for this week. But next week, more on point, longer streams. And yeah, I just want to break down like the main points tonight, so those who are interested get all the details. If you watched last night's stream, I was talking about a lot of variables that were indicating a pullback in the market, and that is what we saw today. So we're now going to be talking about how much this can continue. Starting off with crypto, Bitcoin, we watched it break 36K for the first time since May of 2022 last night on stream. Ended up going all the way to about 38K before pulling quite a bit back. I mean, pretty much went up to 38K, then dropped all the way back down to 35K. So a little bit of ups and downs there, and right now it's a little bit calm for now at 36.7K. Honestly, on the daily, I don't see much resistance until 40K. Still an uptrend, making higher highs, higher lows. Don't need to complicate it. It looks okay for right now. In Ethereum, which is like the one I'm really excited to talk about right now, boom, hit the first target today. It's currently up 20%. This was alerted for free for everybody in the Discord and the Crypto Alerts channel on October 27th. It is now November 9th, and here we are up 20%. This was alerted when Ethereum was right over here, and today obviously was like the biggest day so far of the swing by far. And not only did you just have a great day, but you took out a very important technical resistance, which was 2000. You can see this high here from May, and this high from July. Currently you're matching highs of the year back from April. If that breaks and we zoom out, then there's really nothing until the second target at 2291. But yeah, great start for the Ethereum swing. It's up 20% right now. And similarly, we have the Mara swing, which opened up very good. I think it was up like 20% or something at one point. I can give you the exact amount. At the open, yeah, it was up 22% at the high of day, not at the open. And then it ended up pulling back. So now the swings, it was in profit for a little bit in the morning. Now it's down about 7%. Rejected the 200-day moving average yet again. Probably has a lot to do with that Bitcoin pullback from 38K to 35K. Same thing for Riot. At one point today, this was up 10%. The swing was up 10%. The highs of the swing so far at one point today ended up closing down 6%. So a very large intraday turnaround for these crypto miners. Looking into other markets very quickly, we've got the US 10-year, which finally put in a bullish engulfing candle on the daily. Potentially, this is where this dip ends. We start bouncing and the market starts selling. You know, we saw this go up and up and up while the market was going down. This starts pulling back. The market has a huge rip, the best rip since 2021. And now we saw that first pullback today, which was also the best day for the US 10-year since the top it put in at pretty much 5%. So we do have that set up. The US 2-year had a nice day as well. Maybe a little bit of a wedge breakout taking place over here, or a channel breakout. So making higher lows. Go over to the VIX. Got a little bit of a nice green candle for the first time since October 30th. No, October 27th. So first green candle for the VIX in a while, pretty much at the bottom of the support zone I was looking at last night on stream. It's been the range that you've seen since the COVID crash. And we also can take a look at gold, another one that bounced a little bit today. Dollar currency index as well. I don't really know how I would view this, maybe like that for right now. Interesting formation here, but you are above these highs at 105.7, which is good. All right, let's talk about the market now. Tweeted this out earlier. We take all this stuff off the chart for a second. Let's look at it. All right, let's just look at pure price action. Okay, we clearly, everybody and their grandparents saw this level. We had a resistance right here. It's a gap fill. It was highs from the end of October. We had a clear resistance here in that 438 area, which is what I was talking about last night on stream. There's two other things I want to talk about on top of that. Okay. One, on this rally we saw, yes, you had a couple good days. I want to take a look at the volume right here. those 3 days were good. You had good volume on those days, pretty nice. But if we take a look at the last 3 days of that rally, you had much lower volume. You started losing that bullish momentum, and then today, highlight it, you gained that volume again on a sell day. All right. So you started losing your buying volume, and then the sell volume really finally came in today. So you got your highest selling volume since October 27th, which was your bottom where the rally started. And then today, not only did you create a bearish engulfing candle where you bearishly engulfed yesterday, almost bearishly engulfed the last 4 days of price action in 1 day. So that's really the pure price action on the daily chart. If we do want to zoom out a little bit, yes, that bullish bat has been playing out very nicely, as well as the classic bullish divergence. It could be over though. It could be. All right. For right now, you're still holding 430, which is good. If we zoom out, you have some major lows here from October of 2021, some highs here from 2022. That is a more key area. If you start giving that up, you've got obviously probably the primary levels to watch on any pullback here is going to be these gap fills. You've got one at 430.78, you've got one at 423.45, you've got one at 418.5, and you've got one down at like 411. Those are just rough numbers because I don't zoom in. But those are definitely like the big levels. I'm actually going to put some alerts at them. At least the first two. Going into like lower time frames right now, key support to watch tomorrow, I'm going to draw a little bit of a zone here, is this. This you've held, let's see, you've held this all week, actually since last Friday. So for the past week, the SPY is not broken 433. If that breaks tomorrow, you could probably go down to 431 and fill the gap right over here. So that's your support. Resistance is just going to be the high of day today. I'm going to do the easy thing here, place an alert at a support break and place an alert at a resistance break. But heading into tomorrow, be aware that it could be a pretty choppy, burn the options type of Friday unless we get above 438 or below 433 on the SPY. That's a 5-point trading range we are currently in. I'm not really trying to fight those choppy waters. I want to wait till we see more of a direction in the market. So yeah, I'm not really trading the SPY as much this week. All right, let's take a look at the Qs now. Exactly what I was talking about last night on stream. Sure, you broke out of the channel, but exactly this is what I wanted to see, a back test. We knew that the SPY was heading into resistance, that the SPY was looking for a pullback. And yes, before this candle, this big red candle today, the Qs looks pretty good. They just broke out, but I was saying, since the SPY is at resistance, there's a decent chance on the Qs go back to back test the breakout before going higher. And this could happen for multiple days, especially if the SPY continues to sell off. You could even get the scenario where you fall a little bit back into the pattern. We're going for the breakout again. So keep in mind, you did break out. Madrid talks about this all the time on his streams. It's not just the breakout itself. It's a follow through price action. That's what really matters. So keep an eye out for that. And a great example of that is the Russell 2000, right? Which technically broke down here on the daily, lowest candle close since the COVID crash, but then rallied all the way back up. And then it technically broke back above support at 173. You can see all of these lows, but then sold off, right? You're getting a breakdown, then a breakout. None of it really mattered because you didn't get any follow through price action. So the Russell is very confusing right now. I'm going to do my best to try and simplify this chart. So let's just kind of delete everything for a second. And the way I'm going to look at the Russell right now, probably the easiest way to view it in general, is like this. Small caps are in a range. They've been in a range since April of 2020. Until this range breaks, that's all it is. They're going sideways overall. Now I know a lot of them are just selling off and selling off and selling off to time lows. So there's that too. All right, so that's really what we're seeing across the board. The ARK ETF got a pretty steep rejection of the 200-day moving average today. It bearishly engulfed the last 4 trading candles. It does have this gap fill at 38.32 and then even more at 35.40. Next 2 levels for the. All right, let's look at some individual names now. NVIDIA, I did share some NVIDIA puts in premium today. They ran 170%. They went from $2.10 a contract to about $5.60 a contract. So that would be 350 profit per contract. It was a huge one. You can see all the updates I was giving on this one. This is just one of the 6 trades from this week. If you didn't see my little announcement earlier, this is how the week's been so far. negative 33% on SPY puts on Monday. Same day, made that back 40% profit on Apple lotto calls. Day after, SPY Super Lotto puts 60%, Mara calls 20%, and yesterday 66% on QQQ puts, and then today 170%. And take a look at really what I was looking at on this. So I saw this, obviously the Qs in this SPY were starting to sell off. I was looking at that, and then I saw that Nvidia had this head and shoulders set up, and it hadn't even broken down yet. But right over here, so I saw the setup, and then slowly but surely it broke down. Not only did it break down, I was like, okay, there's an unfilled gap all the way down here. It didn't quite get to it, but it got pretty close. Then it perfectly back tested the breakdown. It flipped the support into a resistance. Saw that play out. And yeah, every single step of the way. You know, I'm not taking a trade for anybody, but it's kind of like my hands like right here. I'm like, all right, guys, let's go. Let's go into the woods and see what animals there are. All the animals were just bears. It sold off Nvidia, and there you go. So that was cool. But on the daily chart, take a look at this. You've got this resistance here sitting at about 482, and you rejected that today, pretty close to your highs from July 14th. So Nvidia as well is becoming another range bound asset. You know, it's a very kind of wide support range, but it just kind of random in there. Apart from this, could be a little bit of Wyckoff distribution schematics going on over here. Something just to keep in the back of your mind. Let's keep going. There's some other names on my watch list. AMC, it beat on earnings and revenue and sold off today. I did lose some money on AMC this week. Unfortunately, I was up at one point. I just didn't take my profits. I still have some calls on AMC for next week, but pretty much crushed right. This was my worst trade this week. Just swinging AMC calls. Again, when you swing anything through earnings, you have to accept the risks, and it was already a fully riskable position size for me. Definitely not fun to lose it, but I knew earnings were coming, and my position was small enough that I could account for anything, including the fact that it could drop 20%, and that's what it did. So, I mean, speaking of the chart itself, it is holding previous resistance at 850, flipping into a support. It's got the upside gap fill at $10. You never know. Fisker, another one. Again, I love Fisker, but I've been saying it on the stream for over a month now that the chart just does not look good. As much as I love it, chart's not finding support. It's the same thing, a different day. Chart just doesn't look good until we get some sort of a pattern or divergence, and we'll see what happens with the earnings. They had to delay it a week. It's like there's some news from today. Fisker in talks with 5 car makers for production capacity partnership negotiations. Fisker said that today. So yeah, I'm just waiting to see when the pattern is going to come. There's not much that can be done until then. I don't even know if you want to try to call this the harmonic. I don't think it makes sense, but I don't know. You'd have to go deeper. That still really makes sense. So just waiting for some sort of variables to show up on that. Let's look at some large caps now. Amazon, a little bit shy of that 146 resistance level, pulling back today with the market. Does have this gap fill in the 1 hour. Technically not fill. A lot of gaps got very close to filling, but did not actually fill today. Apple, pretty much matching these highs from October. Tesla was the big one today. It broke under the 200 moving average. Sold off right back down to that 207 level. It's a high from March 31st. It's a little bit of a rough day for Tesla, down 5%. Got a hidden bearish divergence. As long as it can keep holding the yellow zone, though, it's okay. But it's getting a little bit riskier now. Google, bearish engulfing candle on the daily. Maybe a little bit of a bear flag setting up over here. Microsoft rejecting the all-time high test for right now. Kind of a shooting star candle, even though it's weirdly placed. That coin had a good day. It's a much better day at one point. This was a premium swing. It pretty much hit the second target at $100 today for 30% profit. Kind of the same thing as what we were talking about on March. Went up in the morning and then just sold off. Sphere reporting earnings. This is that huge, I don't know how else to call it, sphere in Las Vegas with like the screens on the outside. And I'm sure a lot of you saw, I don't know why, but like literally everybody was tweeting yesterday, $100 million loss. for Sphere and the CFO quit, and then it goes up 8%. It was just so funny to me. I have not looked into the earnings, but regardless of all those headlines you were seeing, it did have a good stock price reaction to the earnings. And I think the chart looks very interesting. Got a little bit of a falling wedge here, and you've got classic bullish divergence. Take a look at this. Let me make it zone act. Flipped all of this previous resistance over here into a support, not once in October, but twice. Very interesting. This is moving to the top of my watch list, and it could be a swing trade soon. Gotta go look at those earnings. So, all right. So that's it for today's quick update in the market. Thank you for watching the stream. Shout out to Nerve, AKIM, Silver Shrimp, Seek, KT, and IM twice in the chat. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're watching the replay. I'll see you next week.